It is a well-known fact that sultans are among the biggest spenders on the face of the earth. From exotic cars, flashy cars, to the most expensive mansions, sultans have it all. In today's video, we will be focusing our attention on one of these many sultans, as we take a look at the Playboy lifestyle of the Sultan of Brunei. Without further ado, let's get started. Who is the Sultan of Brunei? Born on the 15th of July in 1945, Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah is the current Sultan and Prime Minister of Brunei. Hassanal is the 29th Sultan of Brunei and one of the very last absolute monarchs we have in the world today. Being the eldest son of his father, former Sultan of Brunei Sultan Omar Ali Saifuddin III, he succeeded to the throne on the 5th of October 1967. While growing up, Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah kept a very low profile. He received high school education at Victoria Institution in Kuala Lumpur, and after that he was sent to the United Kingdom to attend the Royal Military Academy. He graduated from Victoria Institution in 1965, and after leaving school, Bolkiah got married to his cousin, Pengiran Anak Saleha, in an arranged marriage. After he married Saleha, Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah still married 2 more women. He has 4 children shared between those 2, and with Pengiran Anak Saleha, he has 2 sons and 4 daughters. Like I earlier stated, the Sultan of Brunei was sent to the UK in 1967, and it was during this time that his father abdicated, making him the new Sultan. Why did his father step down from the throne? In 1967, Sultan Omar Ali Saifuddin III stepped down as the Sultan of Brunei after protests were made against encroaching communism, and there was also demands from Britain for Brunei to be more democratic. All these coupled together forced Sultan Omar Ali Saifuddin to step down as the Sultan and make his son the new Sultan. Despite the fact that he became the Sultan and he was married, Bolkiah still found time to live a lavish and flamboyant lifestyle that saw him spend billions of dollars. His Playboy lifestyle. While he was out living his Playboy lifestyle, Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah was not alone. He had his brother, Prince Geoffrey Bolkiah, with whom he spent big in London's casinos and bought luxury cars, yachts, and hotels. According to many reports, Prince Geoffrey Bolkiah is very notorious with money, and he is said to be a bad influence on the Sultan. During his Playboy days, Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah commissioned his very own private zoo with about 30 Bengal tigers. For those of you who know how rare and exotic Bengal tigers are, you will also know how expensive they are. The Sultan used the zoo to entertain various world leaders that visited Brunei, all of which made it known that the zoo was top-notch. Apart from the Bengal tigers, the zoo contains falcons, flamingos, and cockatoos, who have all been trained to play basketball, ride bicycles, sing, talk, and imitate other animals. This information was revealed to Bangkok Post by the Sultan's zookeeper, and with the amount of money the Sultan has, it's not hard to believe. It was also during this time that Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah got the world's most successful golfer ever, Jack Nicklaus, to design a golf course for him at one of his hotels. Flash forward to 1981, the Sultan continued his lavish lifestyle by marrying a non-royal flight attendant named Mariam. The Sultan and Mariam stayed together until 2003, when they went their separate ways. Brunei would gain their independence from the UK in 1984, much to the delight of citizens and government. To celebrate, Sultan Bolkiah wanted to mark the occasion like it was the biggest festival in the world. He celebrated by commissioning a $600 million palace named the Istana Nurul Iman. For a palace this expensive, it is expected to have very flashy items, and the Sultan didn't disappoint. The Istana Nurul Iman included a garage with space for 800 cars. The palace was designed by famous architect Leandro Loxen, and it covers an estimated 2.2 million square feet with 1,778 rooms. At the time, the palace was named the world's largest residential palace by Guinness World Records. In addition, the house includes 57 bathrooms and a huge and flashy throne room. His expensive lifestyle didn't stop there, though. He went ahead to pay $70 million for an oil painting, Young Girls at the Piano, by French impressionist Pierre-Auguste Renoir. Remember when I mentioned that the $600 million mansion the Sultan built has garage space for 800 cars? Most of the Sultan's lavish spending was him buying different lavish automobiles. Just to mention a few, Sultan Bolkiah has 500 Rolls-Royces, and he shares a collection of over 5,000 cars with Prince Geoffrey. A popular rumor reports that when the Sultan and Prince were younger, the pair raced Ferrari supercars through the capital of Brunei in the middle of the night. In 2011, Sultan Bolkiah was awarded the Guinness World Record for the largest Rolls-Royce collection. During the early 1990s, Bolkiah and his entire family were reported to own half of all the Rolls-Royces in the world. In total, Sultan Bolkiah owns cars worth $4 million. Some of the cars he owns include a Lamborghini Murcielago LP640, Bentley Continental R, Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR, 5 McLaren F1s, and a Ferrari Mythos concept car. The Sultan also has a gold royal wedding Rolls-Royce, which has been acclaimed to be one of the rarest cars in the world. Sultan Bolkiah was able to afford all of these and more because of Brunei's huge oil reserves, which made him the richest man in the world from the mid-1980s to the 1990s. The Sultan of Brunei sues his Playboy brother. Who would have ever thought the Sultan and Prince Jeffrey would ever have a fight? But they did. As time passed, the Sultan started to take his responsibilities a little bit more seriously, and decided it was high time to put an end to the lavish lifestyle of Prince Jeffrey. This would lead him to sue Jeffrey for embezzlement. Between 1980 and 1997, Jeffrey was the finance minister of Brunei, and during this time he spent tens of billions of dollars of the Crown Estate's money. He used the money to fund his Playboy lifestyle, which many believed was even more lavish than the Sultan's. Prince Jeffrey was sacked in 1997 after he was accused of embezzling as much as $16 billion. In 2000, Sultan Bolkiah named 71 people in a multi-billion-dollar civil suit against his brother, Prince Jeffrey Bolkiah. The suit was based on the improper withdrawal and use of state funds to spend on his company, Amadeo Development Corporation, when he was the finance minister and chairman of Brunei's Overseas Investment Agency. The prince spoke freely about the sacking and the lawsuit, claiming some people in the palace were after his downfall. About the case being made a public affair, a diplomat stated that nothing like this has ever happened in Brunei. Everything has always been kept hushed up in the past. The Sultan definitely feels the public disgrace is worth it. After sacking the prince, the Sultan seized most of his expensive possessions. His 150-foot yacht, which was named Tits, was one such item. Two of the prince's boats, called Nipple 1 and Nipple 2, were also collected. His remaining assets were sold off by the crown in a 2001 auction. CNN reported that some of the assets included an 18-foot bronze Trojan horse, several statues of flamingos, a Comanche helicopter simulator, a plane, an F1 race car, and several gold-plated jacuzzis. Controversies surrounding him, the Sultan, cause of his lavish lifestyle. Unsurprisingly, Prince Jeffrey and Sultan Bolkiah are not new to controversies, especially since their lavish lifestyle puts them in the limelight. Most of the time, the Sultan was drawn into controversies because of his brother, Prince Jeffrey. During the 1980s and 1990s, Prince Jeffrey reportedly oversaw a harem of 40 young women. A couple of years later, one of the girls in the harem, Gillian Lauren, described her experience to the media. She even wrote a book about how the Sultan slept with her hundreds of times. In the book, which she titled Some Girls, My Life in a Harem, Lauren said the prince recruited her for his harem when she was just 18 and living in New York. She continued by saying that the Sultan, who was a married man at the time, slept with women from the harem. She told CNN, "I am a witness to the fact that the Sultan was drinking, committing adultery, and not living on the straight and narrow." Not long after she made this statement, the Brunei government would come out to deny every allegation of this ever happening. They said in a statement to CNN, "We vehemently deny the allegations." Still on the matter of the harem controversy, in 1998, Shannon Marketic, a former Miss USA, made an attempt to sue Sultan Bolkiah and Prince Jeffrey. Shannon alleged that the Sultan and the prince forced her to spend a month in the harem under very dehumanizing conditions. As expected, both brothers denied the allegations, and the Sultan claimed he had never met Marketic in his life. The case was eventually dropped after the courts granted both brothers immunity from legal action due to their joint status as foreign heads of state. How he lives his life now. Even though the Sultan of Brunei has already matured past his youth, he still continues to live a very lavish lifestyle, moving from one wife to another. In 2003, he divorced his second wife after reports claimed that she had been tricked out of $2.7 million by a fortune teller. By 2005, the Sultan had married his third wife, Malaysian TV anchor Azranaz Mazhar Hakim. She was 33 years younger than him at the time, and they would later separate in 2010. Going back to his extravagant lifestyle, even at his age, Sultan Bolkiah still often spends $20,000 for a single haircut. The Times reported this, saying that the Sultan would fly out to London on his favorite jet to get a haircut from his barber. On some other occasions, the Sultan would fly the barber from London to Brunei just to give him a haircut. He goes regularly, sometimes every 3 to 4 weeks. The Sultan flies him first class at a cost of $12,000. Everything is paid for, including the hotel he will stay at and the food he will eat, the Times said. The Sultan's expensive spending still continues. For his daughter's birthday, he bought her an Airbus A340, and for himself, he bought a $400 million Boeing 747. With all these, it's pretty evident that no matter what age the Sultan of Brunei attains, he will continue to live a lavish lifestyle. That brings us to the end of the video for today. Make sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, stay safe and goodbye.